So with the Philadelphia Eagles set to report to the NovaCare Complex for training camp on July 25th, just a couple of days away, on today's show, I am going to rank every single rookie that is reporting to training camp. Now, there are certainly some interesting players on this Eagles roster. The beginning of this list, we're going to go through pretty quickly, but then as we go deeper and deeper into what these rookies can bring to the table, some of the information, some of the statistics and analytics that we're going to take a look at, absolutely fascinating, because what my job is to do here on Eagles Now, inform, entertain, and be insightful. So let's start at 16 all the way up. Tyler Zentner. He is going to be competing with Aaron Siposs to be this team's punter this year. He has a big league out of Kansas State. At number 15, Chim Okorafor, offensive tackle out of Benedictine College. Trevor Reed, offensive tackle out of Louisville. And then Brady Russell, the tight end out of Colorado, checking in there at number 13. I'd say among these players on your screen, the most likely to make the team is going to be Ty Zentner. He has a big leg. Aaron Siposs struggled last year. He was kind of a big reason why there were some special teams lapses in that Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs back in February. If Zentner can come out and show that he can be a more consistent punter, flip the field on more occasions as compared to Aaron Siposs, he has an opportunity to make this football team. At number 12, Jordan Hazelwood, the wide receiver out of Arkansas, undrafted free agent who started his career at Oklahoma coming out of high school. He was actually the number 1 recruit in his recruiting class. Is he going to be able to put together a solid season and training camp and make this team because he has that familiarity with Jalen Hurts? Obviously, he's on the outside looking in, and he's probably not going to make this roster, but a practice squad session for him could be in the cards. At number 11, Mekhi Garner, the cornerback out of LSU. In college, was able to put some pretty good snaps on tape and put together a lot of good moments. He has intriguing size at 6'2", 212 pounds. A reason why he didn't get drafted, ran a 4.55 40-yard dash in the pre-draft process, but last year, 13 starts, and tied for the team lead with 8 pass breakups for LSU. Let's go to number 10 here, Tanner McKee. The Eagles, I thought this was somewhat calculated in the draft. They went into it knowing we're probably going to take a chance on a quarterback in the later rounds. That guy ended up being Tanner McKee. I thought they were going to take a quarterback. I thought it was going to be more of a scheme fit. Tanner McKee played in an old school offense under David Shaw at Stanford. It was a horrific offense, and he's more of a pocket quarterback who's a tall guy with the big arm, big strong hands. But I don't know how much of a scheme fit he is, but obviously the Eagles saw him as a developmental project to enter the quarterback factory. Some people are raving about Ben Van Sumeren, the linebacker out of Michigan State. The Eagles are a little bit thin at that linebacking group heading into training camp, and last year, 81 tackles for the Spartans, 2 pass breakups, and 2 sacks in 2022. Christian Ellis is the young player who throughout OTAs was getting a lot of buzz, but can he get some buzz throughout training camp and in the preseason as well? Because there are some question marks here on this linebacking depth chart. I'm high on Nakobe Dean, him falling to the Eagles 2 drafts ago. I thought it was a great situation for Philadelphia to take a player with those diagnosing skills who's a smart and heady guy. Nicholas Moro had double-digit tackles for loss a year ago and more than 100 tackles. The depth, you have Sean Bradley, who up to this point has been a special teamer, but can he get on that TJ Edwards path potentially? And then Christian Ellis, Davion Taylor, going to be fighting for roster spots. So too could Ben Van Sumeren. Make sure you subscribe to the show. We are a little bit more than 200 people away from 47,000 subscribers. And when training camp is in session, you can count on us. Daily updates. Anytime breaking news happens, we're going to cover it. Anytime there's an injury, we're going to go in-depth on it, and watch parties are coming up right around the corner. Hit that sub button for the best year-round Eagles coverage. Now we're inside the top 8 here, and this is where this list starts to get pretty interesting. Joseph Ngata, the wide receiver out of Clemson, has that physical frame where when you see him on the field, you're like, that dude pops. 6'3", 217 pounds, and last year for a Clemson team that really struggled to throw the football, he still had some pretty solid numbers. 41 catches, 526 yards, 2 touchdowns. You would imagine that at that size, he would be more of a red zone threat. He wasn't. Cade Klubnik came in at the later portion of last year as a true freshman, and they continue to really struggle through the air. Clemson had a down year, still won double-digit games last year. Joseph Vigata, though, maybe could be a better pro than he was a college player. Now, at the wide receiver spot, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, one of the best wide receiver tandems in the NFL. They're premier players. Outside of that, though, some questions with the depth. Olamide Zaccheaus is pretty good for Atlanta. Quez Watkins, he just has to put it all together, but he's that home run threat who can get vertical. After that, though, massive, massive questions. When we did our UDFA video, once the draft was over, Eli Ricks was the player who everybody was really excited about, and his career's been somewhat interesting. Highly touted recruit coming out of high school. He committed to LSU, 4 interceptions as a freshman, and people looked at the frame and they're like, my goodness, this guy's long, he's rangy, going to be a really good player. Last year at Alabama, I thought that he was hidden on a defense with a lot of really good players, 4 pass breakups after transferring, after being at LSU for a couple of years. Another player who could surprise some people, kind of like what Josh Joby did last year for Philadelphia. Moro Ojomo at number 6. And from here on out, we're really going to go in depth on a lot of these rookies here because I'm excited to talk about them. Ojomo has a fascinating background. 249th pick in the 7th round in the 2023 draft. He was born in Nigeria, moved to the USA at 7 years old. He started playing football at 16 years old. And now 5 years later, he's playing for the Eagles. 29 reps of 225 pounds on the bench press, so he's really strong with that upper body, explosive, high motor, 34 games started at UT after having not started his football career until he was 16 years old. Tyler Steen now. What's interesting about Steen is that he only played left tackle in college. Started his career at Vanderbilt, had to be a smart guy. Then he went to Alabama, and here's his snap breakdown. In 2020, 630 snaps at left tackle. In 2021, 835 snaps at left tackle. And then last year under Nick Saban and Bill O'Brien, 833 snaps at left tackle. Why we're talking about this is because Tyler Steen, when he was drafted, was listed as a guard by the Eagles. He's going to give some competition to Cam Jurgens, who was slotted in to start taking over for Isaac Seumalo, who went to the Pittsburgh Steelers in NFL free agency. With that, let's tee up this question. Which rookie will contribute the most in 2023? Let us know, because a couple of these guys, they could contribute a lot for Philadelphia going into this year. Before we take a look at some more players here as we enter and vault into our top 4, this Eagles polo, it is so fresh. And I'm waiting for the Eagles to announce when those Kelee green jerseys are going to be made official, because all these other teams are announcing their new threads, and the Kelee greens, they mop those other jerseys. Get your polos now, chatsports.com/Eagles polo. They were $70, but if you use our link, they're now on sale for $35. That's 50% off. Kelee Ringo checking in at number 4 here. Just signed his contract a couple of days ago earlier this week, and the Eagles are said to be very high on the 4th round pick who they moved up for on day 3 of the draft. Eagles reportedly like him because he has some positional versatility in their eyes. And I saw some videos and some pictures of him working out by himself as well as alongside Budda Baker. I think he's added a lot of strength, and the Eagles might be looking at him to try out a different position to play cornerback and or safety here. Track speed. He is a burner. 4.36 40-yard dash. Sometimes he got beat last year, but has a bunch of skills, and that's why the Eagles moved up to take him, because they think that they can mold him into a very good player. Let me also say this really quickly. Their secondary, extremely deep. There's a reality in which Greedy Williams, he could be on the outside looking in of this roster bubble for the Eagles going in to week 1 against the New England Patriots. To Sidney Brown, my number 3 ranked rookie for my Eagles rookie rankings. The safety out of Illinois, I think could earn playing time right from the jump. His Pro Football Focus numbers certainly do tell a story. He earned an overall grade for the top-rated defense in college football last year of 78.4, a coverage grade of 89.4. This is the problem, though, with Sidney Brown. I like his aggressiveness. I like his instinct. Sometimes he over-pursues and gets too aggressive. A missed tackle rate of 16.5%. That's not good. His snap alignment, though, is pretty interesting. Along the defensive line, 25 snaps. In the slot, 177 snaps. Corner, 36 snaps. In the box, 444 snaps. And he also was deep for 60 snaps. So this is a player who can literally play all around the field. But where is he going to play with the existing players on this roster? Sharp football analysis with some good insight here. Philly recently signed Terrell Edmunds, who is also better suited for playing in the box. Brown has limited experience in the deep secondary, as evidenced by the snap counts we just showed you, but clearly has the speed, 4.47 40-yard dash to cover a lot of ground in that role. The Eagles used two high coverages on 39% of pass plays last year, while new defensive coordinator Sean DeSai did so at a 42% rate in Seattle. Illinois used two high coverage on 13% of their plays last year. That was the third lowest rate in FBS, so Brown will have a lot to do to adjust into his new role. I like how he's maximized his frame. The dude is absolutely yoked. He likes to get in the lab to really improve his craft and improve his body type. I think that he's going to be able to make those necessary adjustments, but the safety spots are up for grabs. Reed Blankenship, as we've talked about on the show, he had some really good Pro Football Focus numbers last year. And when he replaced C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who took yet another shot at Eagles fans this week, and I called him out on Twitter, and it went wild, he played really well. And then Terrell Edmunds, former first-round pick, hasn't lived up to the billing, but with this Eagles defensive line, does he end up playing better? What will the starting safety tandem be for the Eagles? Is it going to be Edmunds and Blankenship? Let me know. Or is it going to be somebody else who unseats one of them? Chime into the comment section. Two more players here. Nolan Smith, my number 2 rookie. And I really went back and forth between having him and Jalen Carter at the top of my rookie power rankings. Nolan Smith, high on the player. Can't believe he fell to number 30. The athleticism is out of this world. Insane speed coming off the edge. Great bend coming around the corner. The athleticism certainly should translate. The athletic body type that I see, it's kind of a blend between Hassan Reddick and Von Miller, two very, very successful edge rushers in this league. Nolan Smith loves the game of football. His personality reminds me a lot of a guy like Brandon Graham, who's been a culture changer for this team for more than a decade, and he has leadership qualities about him that I also really like. So you have that combined with the fact that he has all these Georgia teammates to play with. I think that's going to make his transition easy, and he's going to be a backup to Hassan Reddick. Look for him to have between 5 sacks, 7 sacks this year as a rookie. That's one of my bold predictions. At number 1, Jalen Carter. And I'm not just saying this because Carter was the first pick for Philadelphia, because I'm just high on the player, and that's why I have Jalen Carter atop my rookie power rankings here. And there's so many reasons for this. He was arguably the best player in this draft class. If he wasn't involved or wasn't around for that crash after the Georgia National Championship parade, he could have gone number 1 in this draft. The Eagles got him at number 9. That is extraordinary value right there. He is a dominant disruptor. He has great versatility to his craft. He can play literally almost every single position along that defensive line. He did that at Georgia last year. The size-speed combination really does just blow your mind. I saw plays last year in which he was hunting down quarterbacks who were running for their lives. He was running down wide receivers in the open field who were downfield. He was tracking down running backs, and he joins an established culture. Everybody wants to say he has these character concerns and he's made lapses in judgment. That might be true, but also there's this great story that I talked about on our YouTube Shorts page right here on the channel. One of his teammates, who was a walk-on, didn't have the necessary funds to buy his lunch every day, so Jalen Carter used his scholarship money to buy his teammate lunch every single day. That's good character right there. You go back to the versatility with one of my points there. Carter's snap alignment last year with the Bulldogs, big reason why they ended up winning that national championship game. He lined up on the A gap, 30 snaps, over tackle, 83. Primarily, he's going to be at that B gap because at the end of the day, he's a defensive tackle, 255 snaps there, and then outside tackle for 20 snaps. The impact of Carter and Nolan Smith, it could be profound in year one here. More numbers from Sharp Football Analysis. Among Power 5 interior defensive linemen, Jalen Carter had a 14.4 pressure rate that ranked third in the country among interior defensive linemen last year. Nolan Smith, on the other hand, had a 20% pressure rate last year for Georgia. So that right there, my Eagles rookie power rankings heading in to training camp, which begins on July 25th. We're only a couple of days away from it, and that means that we're going to be able to talk about some actual football. If you enjoyed today's show, a little bit of a different feel in the program today. Real one, roll call. Give me a real one down in the chat. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching today's show.